because you guys, moving abroad is not for the faint of heart, okay? You're not going to move to a different country and live on an all-inclusive resort. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be worth it. Yes, I think that's like a J. Cole lyric or something. I don't even know. Okay, you guys, welcome back. I know it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Okay. It's been a minute. I'm sorry to younger me. I'm sorry to me 6 months ago because I got on Al Gore's internet. I came on Beyonce's internet and I said with my big chest that I was going to be recording every day. Well,
A few moments later.
yeah, here we are. And that's okay. All right. That's okay. Unfortunately, you know what? Not even unfortunately, right? It's been a minute, but that's just because life has been lifing and life has been lifing in good ways. Like, so, I'm sort of like, I'm on this seesaw where I'm like, sorry to younger me for not fulfilling these goals, but also I'm going to be forgiving to younger me 6 months ago, because sometimes things just happen and sometimes we're not able to meet the goals that we set out. And I don't think that's the end of the world. I actually have another video that I've been saying I'm going to record on what happens when we don't meet our goals. And so that's a video for a different day, but we're here. I'm here. We're back. And let's hop into it, okay? I don't want to waste time, right? So, my name is Vanessa. Welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, shout out to you for clicking play again. If this is your first time here, again, welcome to my channel. And on this channel, we talk about nuanced things. So, things are not black and white, they're in the gray. We like to expand our mind, things like that. So, if you've been following me on my journey so far, you know that a few months ago I moved abroad. So, a lot of my videos here on YouTube, when I came on a few months ago, a lot of my videos were about moving abroad. So you're most likely watching this on YouTube. I'm also going to upload this to my podcast. So, if you're listening on my podcast, shout out to you too. So, maybe you're on YouTube, you can see me. Maybe you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But either way, we're here. So, you know that the last few months, I have been doing a move abroad, XYZ. And that's what I want to talk about today, okay? That's the reason for my absence, because you guys, moving abroad is not for the faint of heart, okay? I know that right now in America, it's such a big topic about, potentially moving or leaving America, XYZ. So I want to continue to provide information on what that looks like, just share my experience, whether or not it's like the logistics behind the visa process or more of the like emotional, mental perspective that happens once, before you leave and then once you actually get there. So today I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, we're keeping it real on this channel. Okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly of moving abroad. And maybe you're someone who's considering moving abroad. Also, maybe you're someone that's considering just like another big leap. So this can apply to moving to a different state, moving to a different town. Like, you don't have to move to a different country to experience the things that I'm going to talk about here. I'd say really it can be any kind of leap that you're taking. Maybe you're leaving your job, maybe you're starting your own business, maybe you're wanting to leave your toxic relationship. Whatever it is, anytime you take a big jump, there's going to be so many lessons in that, good ones and bad ones. So I just want to talk a little bit about that today. Okay, so the good. I'll start with the good, okay? The good part about, there's so many good parts, right? But these are just, I'm going to do one of each, one good, one bad, and one ugly. The good part that I'm experiencing right now, and I think is one of the most like overarching, fulfilling parts of moving abroad, is that once you take a leap, whether or not it's moving to a different country, state, like I said, XYZ, once you make that move, going to instill some courage in you that you may not immediately feel, But after, I'd say 2, 3 months, you're going to start feeling this like just influx, especially if you're a reflective person like I am. You're going to start feeling this influx of courage, right? You're going to start looking back on what you've just done. And for me, I can say that the reason I say it doesn't come immediately, especially if you move abroad, is because anytime you do something new, obviously there's going to be so many new things that come with it. So maybe it's, culture, currency, language, location, like things like that. And there's at first so much is so new, and that part was a lot, right? Like the first few days, the first few weeks, first few months, to be honest, were very, it was just a lot of newness, and that was almost like blinding, numbing in a kind of way, because every day is like a hurricane storm. Like what next is going to happen? But once you get to that other side of like the newness storm of all this new information that you have to deal with every day, once you get to that other side, you are going to look back and just have the kind of courage that you just didn't even know existed inside of you, right? Like, wow, I actually did that. And then what that does is that, so let's say you start here, you make whatever leap you're making. Now you're at point B. You're able to like look back and be like, whoa, I actually, like, me at point A, that was me that did that. I'm the person that did that, and I made the leap, dealt with the changes, the difficulties, things like that, and now I'm here. I'm at point B, and you look back and you're like, wow. Then it starts to make you think, wait, what more can I do? What do I need to do now to get from point B to point C? And that type of courage, I believe, at least for me, I would have never gotten to point. I will never get to point C if you don't get to point B, right? So that kind of courage, it just like it. I think it's like it's increasing exponentially inside of me, inside of whoever makes this leap, and it just feels like so amazing. It's just a kind of courage that like you only will get if you do the thing that you want to do, whether or not it's moving abroad or make changing jobs, things like that. So the good part of it is like just the newness of the courage that you get. I'm actually currently, I'm sort of like on a pause, but I'm doing the Artist Way, and shout out to my fellow Artist Way artists. Really, really great book, exercises. Like I'm loving it so much. My pause is not, it's just because of me. I just have a lot going on. But I'm currently doing the Artist Way. One of the things that we talked about in week 2 of the Artist Way is envisioning your mind as a room. And I love this visual sort of like metaphor. And basically, so like, okay, this is actually perfect. So you see this door right here that's cracked. Imagine your mind is like this room I'm in, right? And you have your beliefs, your opinions, what you see for yourself. All of that exists in this room right now, right? But then there's always sort of like another little room off to the side, and that room has information in it that you maybe just haven't fully accepted, right? But you know it lives there. So someone else's truths, maybe truths of the universe, or maybe just experiences, things like that. And when you allow that door to be creaked open or pried open a little bit, you start to let in some truths, some like other truths into your mind, right? And like right now, this door right now, it's just cracked. It's not like fully blown open. But when you expose yourself to new things, when you sort of like take a step, a peek into a new room, you're allowing more truths, more experiences, more thoughts to come into your room. And I just love that metaphor, and I think that is really how I can describe the good of moving abroad, is that you're going to, whether or not the door is wide open or even just cracked, there's going to be so many truths, so much more information, so many more perspectives, more insights that will start to slowly come into your own room. And I just love that experience so far. I love the way it feels. There are so many truths in this world. If you're listening to my podcast, then maybe you know that I also have a travel brand. So a lot of this, a lot of these truths, you will experience that when you travel. But when you move, it's like a whole nother level of like, okay, this isn't vacation. This is like actual real life people. You're starting to see more about different cultures, different countries, things like that. So allowing that door to be creaked open a little bit, you're going to allow more just beautiful truths to come into your space, and I love that. And that's where the courage for me right now is, and I'm just like, I'm loving it. I think that's the one of the best parts about moving abroad so far. That actually segues perfectly into the bad. Okay, so that was the good, the courage that comes, the more expanded perspective and truths that you're going to experience, right? Let's talk about the bad, because I want to keep it real on this channel, okay? I am not a moving abroad influencer that is going to, you know, push you to buy my course or do something like that because I want your money and I want you to subscribe to me, right? I'm going to be honest with you guys, which is why I started off this video talking about how moving abroad is not for the faint of heart. It's a challenge, okay? And one thing, one of the bad things is that you start to realize that the facade of something else being perfect is just it's just a facade, right? So for example, moving to a new country, you start to learn that, I'm from the United States, so moving to a new country, obviously right now, I think a lot of people who are interested in moving to a new country are very much in the space of like, I need to go somewhere else. This country is not it. Healthcare costs are crazy. The food is crazy. Doesn't even taste good. Everything's on recall. All of those things valid. Okay. And those are a lot of the same reasons that I'm still in pursuit of living elsewhere too. So all of those things are valid. But when you get to other places and you're not on vacation, you're living there, you start to learn more about the day-to-day experiences of the citizens of said country, or maybe of the workers of said job, right? This is very much just remind me of the very simple phrase, grass isn't greener. Sometimes the grass is greener, and I do think my experience so far, the grass was greener in the country that I was living in. But it's not just like as simple as like, well, this grass is like shade 3 green and this grass is shade 2 green, right? Like maybe sometimes just a different color of green. Because you're going to experience similar, maybe not the exact same challenges, but life is challenging. There are challenges in life. You're not going to move somewhere else and be on vacation. You're not going to move to a different country and live on an all-inclusive resort where, you don't have to have any interactions with anyone else, or your food's brought to you, things like that. It's not a vacation. It's not a fairy tale. It's not what if you are on Instagram like I am, if you're a chronically online person, it is not Disney World when you go somewhere else. Okay, so the biggest thing to remember here, I think, to like combat the bad part of the move, or whatever move you're making, whether or not it's a new workplace or country, is just that we're not seeking, this is not escapism, right? We're not seeking perfection. We're seeking something different. We are seeking to expand our perspectives, to see if we can live a different way of life. But it doesn't mean that we are trying to escape some of the just realities of life. And as a US citizen, especially right now, living in other countries, I've learned so much about the EU, about Europe, about their problems and their politics. And there's a lot of problems in every country of the world. This is a side note, but one thing Americans do is we really glorify Europe to the point where it's like sort of weird. Like, so it's sort of weird. Because there are problems in every continent, every country. There's problems in Europe, there's problems in Asia, there's problems in Africa. And the way Americans make like Europe out to be this like perfect place, like it is great, like, right, there are great things about Europe, but there's great things about Asia, and there's great things about Africa too. And I just feel like Americans are really stuck on the European stuff, and this is coming from an American who just was living in Europe, so I'm part of the problem too. But just something to think about, like, Europe is not Disney World. There are problems there. They have political problems. They have problems within their own countries, within the EU as a whole. So I think moving, coming from American, a United States citizen perspective, it's really sort of like made me sort of like take a breath, right? There are still so many problems with this country, and still that's the reason why I'm still seeking to gain citizenship somewhere else. This is more about like me long term, like my next generation, things like that. But it allowed me to like take a breath, right? Because things are not perfect, and that's sort of like the only bad part is that you're not going on vacation, and other countries are going to have their problems, their challenges. Maybe the challenges are specific to you. Like, so for me, you know, this isn't a bad thing, but a challenge was going to a country where I did not speak the language. I speak a little bit of Spanish. No, I speak good Spanish. Okay, I'm selling myself short. I speak good Spanish, but I am not fluent. And the part of Spain where I was in, they don't speak English. Aquí hablamos español. Okay. Aquí hablas español. So yeah, like that was a particular challenge for me. It wasn't bad, but it's just like you're not going somewhere else, and people are going to cater to you just because you've moved abroad. Like that's just one thing that is just a truth, right? It's just a truth to it. Hey, you guys, and the last one. I'm gonna make this quick because I want these videos to be short. But let's talk about the ugly. Okay, this is the ugliness, and this actually is specific, I think, to moving abroad. So it's very specific to my experience, and it's specific to me being a Black American. The ugly is just another extension of the bad, and it's just that there are really some ugly truths about the world that exist everywhere. And for me, being a Black woman, being a Black person in Europe, I'm not gonna say it's this is a whole nother video. This is a whole nother video. Like racism in Europe, racism in Spain, it's a very nuanced topic. What I will say for this video is that being Black is a global experience. Being Black in America and the United States is a very different experience for me than being Black in Spain. My experience has been different, but it doesn't mean that it's perfect. It wasn't perfect in Spain. It wasn't like without, I don't know, racism is a strong word, but all I'll say, and I haven't thought about this enough to record my thoughts. I will eventually and put it on YouTube, but it's like a very nuanced, sensitive topic, so I don't want to go too into detail on this video. But what I will say is that anti-Blackness is global. If you were Black on this continent, you will be Black in any other continent, and maybe it's easier, maybe it's a different experience in Africa. I've only ever traveled to Africa, I've never lived there, so I can't say that like being a Black American, if you move to an African country, that all of your problems will be solved. Oh no, I can't speak to that. But I will say, you start to learn a lot about anti-Blackness on a global scale, and it is crazy. It's crazy. It's really sad. You start to really recognize, you know, the last like 400, 500 years of history, the slave trade, which was not ancient history. It wasn't that long ago, and it's mind-blowing, I think, to see how much that affected life on every continent. Europe, Asia, and Africa. North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa. I think about that Andre 3000 t-shirt that he's worn before that says something like, across the world, darker skinned people are treated differently. You know, why is that? And it was a lot of me questioning, why is that? Why is that? And that's where I am sort of like right now. A lot of questions, a lot of reflection, pondering. You know, I think for a minute I was sad because maybe this is just part of the process, right? Like, we're not seeking escapism, we're not seeking a perfect place. And I think as a Black American, as a Black person, if you're someone who's considering moving abroad, it's something that you have to even think about even more. Where am I going as a Black person? Where am I traveling? What is their history with race? Will I have a safer experience here than there? Things like that. So that's just, you know, it's I say that's the ugly because it's just, I don't think that it's something that it's not going to go away. And it's bigger than the small things. Like, I can learn a language, right? I will never not be Black. I'm going to be Black everywhere I am, which I'm happy about, okay? But it's just an ugly truth, and it's tough, and I just want to express that because it's, you know, it's similar too. If you're moving abroad, it's very similar. If you're moving jobs, I really try and not. I try and have a balance of, you know, living life, experiencing this reality in this body, and not leading too much. But the same thing as with being a woman. I walk into a room with 100 men, and I'm trying to like both recognize, like, yeah, I'm a woman in this space, but then also not put on too much of a, I guess, not lead with it too much so that it is hindering my experience. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, I'm all over the place right now, but that's the ugly, right? Like, there are just really ugly truths to the world that, unfortunately, wherever you go, they will follow you, especially if you are a Black person like myself, if you're a woman, if you have if you're someone with a disability, things like that. There will be challenges everywhere you go. So that's it for today. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I hope this was helpful if you're someone, again, who is considering making a big jump, whether or not it's moving to a new country, changing jobs, XYZ. But again, like, the good has outweighed so much of the bad and the ugly. So I make this video not because I want to hinder anyone's progress. If you have dreams of moving abroad, like, I want you to do them, because you will never, if you have a dream today, you're going to have that same dream. Especially if you've had it for years. If you've had a dream for 5 years, you're going to have that dream for 5 more years, whether or not you do it or not. So if you're someone who wants to do it, do it. But I am here to share, the realities of what the experience is going to be like. It's not going to be perfect, but it is going to be worth it. Yes, I think that's like a J. Cole lyric or something. I don't even know. It's not perfect, but it's worth it. I don't know who said that, but they were preaching. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, follow along, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting more stuff about my move abroad, and also just about, topics like this, like things where we can expand our mind, open that door a little bit, and have a little bit more information flood into our current room, okay? And we're only going to experience these things by taking leaps, taking one step forward, putting one foot in front of the other, and allowing ourselves to grow and our minds to expand. So, thank you again for pressing play. I'll be back soon. We're going to keep this channel growing. Even though I took a hiatus for a little bit, we're back. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like the video, hype it up, get me in the algorithm, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.